Sarah, you raise your head and open your eyes. You look around and see that you're in a relatively small, confined space. You're sitting on a metal bench. Next to you to your left is another figure. They're wearing a set of dark brown coveralls, and on their lapel is the Asclepius Armory logo. And on their right sleeve is a cross. You recognize that this is an Asclepius Armory medic. Directly in front of you, there is a gurney. To the left of the gurney is some first aid equipment. And on the other side is another bench. There's two people sitting on it. One is a slim, harsh-looking, middle-aged woman with a vicious scar over one eye who is wearing combat armor. Seated next to them is a figure in baggy fatigues, similar to the person sitting next to you, but they have a set of net-running goggles up on their forehead and a deck, which is the portable keyboard you use for net running, strapped across their back. Above them is a rack full of weapons, and you glance back behind your own head and see that there's a similar rack full of weapons there as well. You also get your own bearings a little bit, and you realize that you're not wearing the duster that you normally wear. You look down and see that you're wearing a brown leather jacket that has metal spikes on the shoulders. You see that you're holding your SMG in your hands in your lap. You feel your pistol strapped to your side and your agent in your pocket. You also feel like the stack of Eurobucks in your pocket, your stack of cash, is smaller, like noticeably smaller than you remember, but you would have to go inside and actually check how much you have left. You also feel the hilt of a knife like sticking out of your boot. You feel it pressed up against your leg. And in your left pocket, you feel the cylindrical form of a pill bottle of some sort. You also sort of groan with pain and fatigue. Mechanically, you are at full health, but you feel a tightness in your chest where there are several different sets of bandages wrapped around you. You can tell that you have been shot and have sort of recovered from that. The harsh-looking woman looks at you and she says, "Everything all right there?"
Yeah, where are we?
She clicks a little radio that she's wearing over her ear and says, like, "Where are we?" A moment later, she nods like she's heard a response through the radio and then says, "Wheels says that we'll be there in 10. We're currently on Meadow, and we need to make our way over to Juniper."
What's on Juniper?
The target house. Yeah, I guess you didn't see the destination on the computer back at AA, but the Hastings residence is at Meadow and Juniper.
How long till there?
10 minutes. Now's a good time to check your gear, make sure you're stocked up on everything. We don't know if that threat will still be there or not. We don't have active communication with the patient.
How long have you been working with AA?
Me? Gosh, this is 18th year, I think. I mean, you don't work your way up to head of team development without putting in your time.
Can I ask myself to look for things? Like, can I say I want to look around to find an exit?
You can feel that you're currently in a moving vehicle. You can intuit that you're probably in the back of an AA ambulance because you look to your right and you see that there are sort of the double doors of the back of the truck. So if you wanted to just jump out and bail, you could. It would be jumping out of a moving car.
Right, yeah, not ideal. Can I fast forward to where we arrive?
Sure. I'm going to roll a luck check for you. You feel a buzzing in your pocket.
I'll pull out the phone in my pocket.
So you pull out your agent. You see that there is a message. The message reads, "Night City wide alert. Correction for earlier statement about Biotechnica CEO. Visit will be by Aerodyne. No slowdown expected." Now you just have your agent out in your hand. You can examine it if you would like, or like look through its contents.
I'd like to look at the other news postings.
Sure. That was not a news posting. That was like, you know, the president's text message thing that goes out to everyone? That was one of those. So you wouldn't be able to get like news on your phone because remember, there's no like net to get news from.
Right. Okay. I'll look through my messages.
You see that your most recent message is from your friend Jessica, and it says, going to an interview at TETIC. There's a short conversation after that message where basically you ask if everything's okay, and then she says, yes, just a normal interview. And then after that, you see a message from yourself. Like the next person in sort of the chain is you. Below that is Miles. And the one from Miles is over a week old at this point. You see that it is currently 9/17, September 17, at 9:05 p.m. You see that the message from Miles was all the way back on 9/6. But you glance at this message from yourself, you pop it open, and you see it's a long chain. So you take a moment to check out this long message chain with yourself. You also look back at this text chain with Jessica and see that you had several unanswered messages basically asking, like, where are you over the last few days with no response. You also look farther back in the chain with Jessica and see some discussions from the past week talking about your time in Stronghold and talking about how you were worried about TETIC and to be careful about them. And also a message that Arasaka is the parent company of TETIC. Those are all from before this chain with Jessica. But otherwise, what would you like to do? You glance up from your phone, and the woman that you were talking to hammers her fist on the side of the van and says, all right, everyone, 1 minute. Everybody get ready. What would you like to do?
Look up to the rack of weapons above me and pick up my SMG.
You look at the weapons. You see that there are a couple grenades, one frag, one flashbang. You also see that there is some sort of combat shotgun up on the wall and a couple pistols. She sees you eyeing them and says, go ahead and stock up. You'll just need to return what you don't use by the end of the night. Or you can always, buy it.
I'll take the grenade and the shotgun.
Okay, both the frag and the flashbang?
Yes.
Are you going to carry your SMG, or are you going to sling like that on your back and carry the shotgun?
Yeah, I'm going to carry the shotgun.
Okay, awesome. You also, as you were doing this sort of inventory of yourself, you had a chance to check this cylinder in your pocket, and you see that it is a prescription drug bottle that is labeled Speed on the front. You recognize that this is a form of synthetic combat drug. This drug is highly addictive, but does boost your reflexes if you take it. You have not taken it before, and you know that they're super addictive.
I want to take the pill.
Okay, you unscrew the cap, down the pills inside. You are at a +2 to your reflex stat for the next in-game hour. Anything else you'd like to do before the doors open?
Nope.
So you ride up, the ambulance screeches to a halt. I'm going to roll a check for someone off screen. The ambulance screeches to a halt and the back doors swing open. You see a well-manicured street. You are clearly in some sort of relatively fancy part of suburban Night City. You see rows of identical-looking manicured lawns and homes. And as they swing open, the woman says, all right, go, go, go. I'll take point. And she leads the way out the door. She has an assault rifle in her hand. She clears the corner and moves to the right. Do you follow her?
Yeah.
You step out and you see that she's leading the way up, rifle drawn, towards the house to your right. It is a small, like one-story house, but the very fact that someone owns a house means that they're fairly well off. It has like a manicured front lawn, foliage, hedgerows in front. And in front of the bay window on the front of the house, there is a hedge that you can see has been sort of like trampled over. And then the bay window itself has been shattered. There's like a hole in the window and pieces of glass have fallen on the ground. You also hear the sound of a home alarm coming from inside the house. What do you do?
Kick in the front door.
Awesome. Give me a athletics check to go up and kick in this door.
18.
Yeah, you hold the shotgun up in your hand, kick down this door. It falls back off the hinges and swings in, and you level your shotgun inside. You see that there is a corridor in front of you. The lights are on, and you hear sobbing coming from inside. You see that the corridor goes straight and at the end seems to open up to some sort of open space to your right. To the left, you see that there's a set of stairs going up. The noise is coming from the first floor, like from in front of you. Directly to your right, there is an opening into what appears to be like a living room that the bay window is attached to.
I'm going to follow the noise.
So you start going down this hallway. You hear the crunch of glass, glance to your right, and see that the woman and the figure who is like next to her in the ambulance are climbing through the window and screening the house. You look behind you and you see that the figure who's sitting next to you in the van, the one with the cross on their arm, is following like at a distance behind you, two hands holding a large pistol, but trying to hug the wall. You walk down the hallway and you come into a relatively fancy upscale kitchen. You see there's a set of nice cabinets lining the wall, granite countertops, a granite island in the center. And sitting at a stool on the island is a woman. She has these large gold earrings that contrast with her light brown skin. And she is sitting there wearing a set of like silk pajamas and just looks incredibly distraught. She looks up at you and says, oh, thank goodness you're here. That man is, I don't know where he is.
I'm going to ask for her name.
It's Pia Hastings. And she holds up a card in her hand and passes it to you. It is a Asclepius Armory like insurance plan card that has her name, Pia Hastings. It has her address. It has her like account number, and it has premium plan written on it. You're also feeling like a little jittery as you take the card.
Right. Is there a door off of the kitchen that leads outside of the house?
There is a like screen door to the back that leads onto a patio. The door is closed.
And there's someone right behind me, the person with the cross on their arm, right?
Yeah, they've actually stepped around you and are starting to do like a medical evaluation of Miss Hastings.
I would like to shoot that person with my shotgun.
Okay, yeah. This person certainly does not expect it. So go ahead and roll 5d6. You're at point blank. You're not going to miss this.
24.
So this guy has come around you. He's starting to offer medical services to this person standing to her side. You suddenly raise your shotgun, level it at this guy, and just blast him straight in the chest. Blood sprays on the granite countertop behind you, and he falls over. The woman just screams. You also hear shouting from the living room area. It sounds like the gunshot was obviously heard. What do you do next?
After I shoot, I want to grab Pia and run out the back door, and I want to drop my flashbang in the room.
Awesome. So if you want to grapple someone, you're going to make a roll d10 plus your dex plus either your brawling or your athletics. And I will roll for her because she's going to like try and resist you. She's going to get a negative because she's in shock.
So I rolled a 10 and my athletics is +4. So I'm going to do 14.
Plus 6 for your dex is 20, plus you roll your die a second time.
And that would be 5.
Yeah, you snatch this woman. She's screaming while you do, but you pull her. Do you shoot open the glass screen door, or you just try and like rip it open and run through?
Rip it open and run through.
Okay, you rip it open and run through. You drop this flashbang behind you. I'm going to roll. You make it out into this fenced-in backyard. You see that in the backyard, there's also one of those separate garages that has the door closed. Otherwise, there is a fence, and then it seems like on the other side of that fence is an almost identical suburban home. Looking to your left and right, you see that they similarly have fences and identical homes past them. But you're currently like in this backyard. That garage is like forward and to your right. There's a driveway from that garage to the street. You pull the pin on the flashbang, and you're dragging Pia behind you. Then 5 seconds later, you hear the noise, the flashbang going off, and a shout from the other AA members who are with you. It seems like you hit them in the flashbang. What is your next move?
To pull Pia and run into the garage looking for a car.
The door to the garage is locked. You're going to need to like either find a way in, like break your way in, or try and intimidate Pia into opening it for you, or find another option.
I'm going to intimidate Pia into opening the door.
Okay, that's a persuasion check. I'm going to roll for her.
12.
12 total.
Yep.
She, considering the state that she is in, she like quiveringly pulls out a little fob and the garage door slides open. Inside you see a shiny red Aerodyne, a flying car. It's a two-seater vehicle that has like gull wing doors, but where the wheels would be, there's like repulsors that are in sort of the wheel wells.
I want to put Pia in the passenger seat and get in the driver's side.
Okay. Give me one more grab check to force her in there.
So, Jesus. Dex plus brawling plus my roll is 10.
10 total.
Yeah, I
rolled a
rolled a 1.
Okay, so then you need to roll
Yeah.
a second time and subtract it from your 10.
Right. 8, so 2.
So she actually manages to like struggle free from you and is just standing opposite you in the garage. You still have your shotgun. You're presumably like holding your shotgun in one hand because you were grabbing her with the other. And you get the sense that the other AA people are like still recovering from the flashbang, but that won't last forever.
I want to use like persuasion to get her in the car now.
Okay, roll persuasion.
19.
Okay. What does it sound like when you try and persuade her?
That it's life or death and to get in the car.
Okay, so you're basically just threatening her with the shotgun and like gesturing for her to get in the car.
Well, less my taking her life and more there. Like I'm the good guy.
You are clearly not the good guy.
Okay, yeah, it's threatening.
Okay. So like I think you try and spin it as like I'm the good guy here, and she's like shaking her head crying, and then you raise the shotgun and it becomes clear that you are not and in fact never were the good guy. But she, like tears in her eyes, crawls inside the passenger seat and shuts the gull wing door behind her, and you can climb in the front.
All right, then I can turn on the car and drive away.
So I'm going to need a driving check from you. It's a skill you don't have, to basically like make your way out of the garage and like do it in a way where you avoid being spotted by the AA people, since they will probably start shooting at your car as soon as they see you.
Right. I'm going to use 2 luck points, and I've rolled this. Then I'll have 7.
Okay, so you rolled a 5.
Yep.
So you get 5 plus 2 from your luck is 7, plus 8 from your reflex from the speed is 15. So I'm going to roll perception checks for the other 2 people who are there. You start speeding away, and you hear the sound of rifle rounds like impacting the rear of the car as you zoom out, fly around the corner, and rise up into the sky. So you've made it away, but it seems like someone spotted you and started shooting. But you were in an Aerodyne, so you were much faster than like even if they got in the ambulance and chased you.
All right, so I want to ask questions. I want to find out about Ted Ick.
Okay, so each of these is going to need to be a persuasion check since you're basically like interrogating her. Oh, no, sorry. This is the interrogation skill. This is 100% the interrogation skill, which is a skill you don't have. If you want to like
That is a
forcefully
bummer.
interrogate her for information. Also, just like as the shock of this whole experience goes on, I'm going to need a luck check from you.
Fair. 10.
Cool. So you pass the first time. No strikes. Next time you need an 11. Okay, yeah. So if you're trying to extract information from her, what do you want to ask about first?
Her role at Ted Ick.
Okay, and give me a interrogation check.
14.
I'll roll for her. She just breaks down in tears. She crit failed her will check to resist your interrogation. And just like through sobs, she tells you that she doesn't really do that much. Like she's just, you know, the title is really just a title. She's basically just a glorified secretary to Mr. Tetsuo. But she says that like most of her job is to help screen and vet potential like mercenaries, third parties that Tet Ick can hire for sort of unsavory jobs that the company doesn't actually want to be connected to itself. She tells you further, since like you did quite well on this role compared to her, she tells you that Shinji, her boss, is like cool as a cucumber exactly until he isn't, and then we'll just go like into a rage. So he's got sort of that quiet, calculating anger. So you really don't want to be on his bad side. And then she says that he'd been complaining recently about Biotechnica and about needing to find something, or like needing to find or put together a team for something with Biotechnica. And if you want more information, you'll have to do another roll.
I will do another roll.
Also, where are you driving to while you do this?
Now, I'm in a flying car, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'm kind of in like some sort of burb of Night City.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm going to drive toward downtown Night City.
Okay. You don't need to make a check for that. You can just follow the skyscrapers on the horizon. So you're headed towards downtown Night City, and you're going to ask another question. So I need another roll.
11.
She is just going like catatonic and unresponsive. She's clearly just panicked out of her mind. She's sort of like shaking in the passenger seat.
I have a persuasion skill, or do I have any skills that can calm her down?
You want to try and talk her down? Yeah, that would be a persuasion skill. It's going to be hard since you caused all the things that made her stressed out.
Fair.
But you can attempt it.
I'm going to attempt it. 19.
She's starting to calm down. She has sort of realized that you are not actively trying to shoot her. And it seems like she's come to the conclusion that if she wants to get out of this, she probably needs to be cooperative. You've shown a fairly lethal disdain for human life thus far. You can ask another question, but it's going to be another interrogate check.
7, right? Because I get +1.
Mm-hmm. Correct. So your total then comes to 13. What do you want to ask her about?
Let's see if she knows anything about Miles.
She shakes her head and says that she hasn't heard of a Miles. She thinks for a second and then says that normally she's the one who would like first vet potential mercenaries, that she would like look through their profiles and send them on to her boss, but that for whatever reason for this Biotechnica thing, Mr. Tetsuo did like all of that stuff directly. So she has not come across Miles's name, but that's like sort of where the gap in her knowledge is.
So if I want to ask her more questions, I have to keep rolling?
Yes.
All right. And just to clarify from the Google Doc, I put out a hit on her
Sounds like it.
with the shockers.
That sounds like what the Google Doc says.
So I want to ask her why they would put a hit out on her.
Why someone would put a hit out on her?
Yeah.
I think this time you can probably switch over to using persuasion. I think you've like calmed her down enough, and this is like less prying.
15.
She shakes her head and she says, I don't know. I mean, you know, Mr. Tetsuo doesn't, you know, he normally hires some pretty rough types. Maybe it's someone who was mad at getting passed over for a job, or someone who had a job go south. I don't know.
Can she lie to me?
Yeah, if you want to tell if someone is lying, it's a human perception check.
I would like to do that. 8 plus
So
3.
21.
Yeah.
You get the sense that she's telling the truth. She doesn't know like why someone specifically would put out a hit on her. She has some form of protective life insurance, right? So clearly she thinks that she's in enough danger that that amount of money is justified being spent. But it seems like she doesn't anticipate any like direct threat on her life.
I want to ask her more information about her boss, like where he is, how I can find him.
Sure, give me a persuasion check.
13.
She sort of shakes her head and says, his office is on floor 122. I don't know. Sometimes he works late. Sometimes he doesn't. I don't know. Oh, sorry. There's one more text message that I didn't tell you about earlier that I should have. That emergency message that you got earlier tonight was actually the second. It was correcting an earlier message. And that message was on 9/15 and said that there was an upcoming visit from the Biotechnica CEO, Casper Hodson. And so you were supposed to expect like a traffic slowdown on the 18th. So the message you got tonight was saying, oh no, he's flying in, so there won't be a traffic slowdown.
So can I ask her about any meeting between her boss and the Biotechnica CEO?
With another persuasion check.
16.
She shakes her head and says, no, I don't think they were going to meet. I mean, they could be meeting about, well, I mean, I know he had me hunting out people for another second Biotechnica thing that he said was happening tomorrow. It could be, but I don't think that was anything with the CEO.
All right, so I want to do another check more in depth about this second gig.
Okay, roll again.
So 13.
16.
You're
13
16.
total? 16 total?
Yeah.
She says, all I know is that it's some extraction thing, that there's some tech asset that Biotechnica has stolen and is keeping in their building. And I heard that their CEO was coming into town to grab it, and take it back to their HQ in Rome. I think that's what the timeline was, or why there was this deadline.
So I know I sell late night goods. What are they?
I mean, mostly drugs. Like, you can intuit that bottle of speed was probably one that you had to sell. Your main thing is like making connections for people, right? Like, person A has, a bunch of like illegal guns. Person B wants to buy illegal guns. Like, you get those two people together and take your 10% cut for arranging things. That's most of what you do on like the sort of illegal sales market.
And just clarification, her boss is Shinji Tetsuo?
Shinji Tetsuo or Tetsuo Shinji, depending on if you use the Japanese ordering of things.
Great. I want to ask her if she has like a badge or anything that would allow me to get into the building.
Yeah, give me another persuasion check.
14.
She shakes her head and says that all of the scanners are biometric. She has an ID card, but it's still back at her house.
Well, shit. Can I ask her if she can get me into the building?
You can try and convince her. It'll be very hard. You can make it easier by like threatening her. That may have like separate repercussions.
Yeah, I'm going to threaten.
Okay. So give me a persuasion check and do it at a +4, since you like are actively trying to get your hostage to do something while you have weapons trained at her.
22.
She starts crying again because this tone, this like abrupt shift in tone back to the captor, but she nods her head yes. Are you driving towards the Tet-Ik building? Like, is that the goal?
Yes.
As you approach the building, you see that you could park like on the street next to it. There's also a parking garage nearby, and then you see that there's a helipad on the roof of the building. There's helipads on the roofs of all the like major buildings downtown. Tet-Ik is across the street from Biotechnica. Also right next to them are Militech and Arasaka, and then Night City News is 1 block over.
Okay, so I want to pull into the parking garage across the street.
Okay, give me a driving check to like successfully pull into this parking garage stealthily.
13.
You like dink a couple fenders on the way in, but fortunately no car alarms get set off. You're now in this parking garage. It is adjacent to the Tet-Ik building, like 1 block back from it, and seems to have a skyway, like above ground tunnel that goes into the Tet-Ik building. I'm also going to need another luck check from you as you like finish this landing, open the doors, and get ready.
That's fair. That's super fair. All right, I rolled a 6.
Okay, that's a pass. You need a 12 next time. So you step out of the car, you level the shotgun towards Pia and sort of like motion for her to get out too, and then sounds like start heading towards the skyway?
Yeah.
Okay. You make your way over to the door to the skyway. You see that there's a glass window in the middle of the door frame. Give me a perception check.
12.
You could see through the door that there's some sort of like security checkpoint on the other side. and that there's at least one Tetic guard wearing their full combat uniform standing there with an assault rifle. So there's some sort of checkpoint on the other side of this door.
Okay, so I want to ask you a few questions first.
Mhm.
Am I able to put the shotgun in a way in which it is hidden?
It would be like slung across your back, but you could at least not be like actively brandishing it. Both the submachine gun and the shotgun cannot be fully hidden.
Okay, and then I would like to ask Pia if she can get me past this checkpoint.
She nods. Give me a human perception check.
16.
She looks like she might bolt. She is probably going to need some extra convincing not to just immediately turn you over to the armed guards.
Great. So can I guess I have to threaten then, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. And then I got an 8. Plus, is that, I don't have a special skill in that, right?
That would be persuasion again.
Okay, so 18.
So you like gesture the shotgun at her menacingly, basically asking like, are we gonna have any problems, sort of thing. And she, very panicked, shakes her head no. You can see the thoughts of just bolting like leave her eyes. But then she says, no, I can get you past the checkpoint, I think. I'm wearing my pajamas, so this is gonna look a little weird, just so you know, but I'll give it my best shot.
Okay, let's move forward.
Okay, so you step into the hallway. You have your shotgun and submachine gun across your back. Pia like waves to the security guard and says, just forgot some paperwork, bringing my friend along. And I'm gonna roll how well she lies, and then I'm gonna roll how well this guard detects it. Holy shit. She crit succeeded on her lie and then rolled a 10 on the second one. So the guard not only like nods, waves you through without even checking your guns, but says like, if you need a jacket, I've got one in the medical station over there. You know, it's air conditioning's kind of cold in the tower. And Pia gives like a look of thanks, goes and grabs a Tetic like windbreaker off of a chair in the security checkpoint, and then joins you, walks you around a corner. You're now in a hallway. There's an elevator bank at the end, and she says, "All right, I got you through. Can I leave now?"
No. I want her to take me up to his office, her boss's office, and where her desk is.
Okay, I don't think you need another check for this. She leads you over to the elevators. You step inside, and you're in this elevator for like 4 minutes as it just keeps climbing. Give me another luck check as the tension sort of builds.
10.
Okay, that's your first strike. So strike 1. 3 strikes and you're out. The door then dings open. You see above the elevator door in red letters 122. You step out into what is clearly like a reception area sort of thing. Like this seems to be a forward-facing floor, you know? There's a reception desk. Behind it is the Tetic logo. There's 2 kanji characters, and then below it in English is the actual full name of Tetic, which is Tetsuo Ikimonogaku. You see that the reception desk is empty. The lights on this floor are sort of dim, and she says, there's a scanner right there, and then my boss's office is around the corner. Do you follow her?
Yeah.
Okay. She walks over past the reception desk to a wall, bends down, and there's a biometric scanner that scans her iris. A door swings open. She steps through and gestures to the left and is like pointing into another like smaller reception area. It's clearly like a waiting area for whatever is behind this next door. To the right, there's like a line of sort of offices going down a hallway. She says, I mean, my office is here on the right, you know, stay close to the boss, but he's right through there. I don't know if he's here or not.
Let's go into her office.
Okay, she leads you around the corner. It's a relatively small, sparse office. There's like a phone on the desk. It's covered in papers. There's a computer, file cabinets, that sort of thing.
On her computer, does she have like a calendar or something for him?
Give me another persuasion check to get her to like unlock her computer and let you into her system. You've come this far, so it should be pretty easy.
Yeah. A 15.
She enters a password and the screen hums to life. You see there's a calendar, and the calendar basically lists like different, it seems like there's different color coded blocks of time on the calendar. They all have different labels, and there's 4 different colors on there. Each of the blocks is labeled like one is Neko, one is Inu, one is Kuomori, one is Risu. It's all different Japanese names.
Are those names of people? Like, I don't know anything about the Japanese
Each of the
language.
calendar blocks has this, like, that's all that's on it. You can give me an education check to see if, like, Sarah can figure out.
16.
You get the sense that these are project code names, or like that these are some sort of labels that are put on the time blocks. They're in like 4 colors. There's red blocks, green blocks, yellow blocks, and blue blocks.
Are there other programs on the computer other than the calendar?
Yeah, there's like a Rolodex, there's the TETIC net, there's a building net and like a browser to use that, word processor,
I would like
spreadsheets.
to look at the TETIC browser.
Yeah, you pull it up. It's basically like a local Google. What are you trying to search for on it?
Well, let's just keep it simple and look for Miles right now. Do we have his full name?
Miles Tanner.
There you go.
Give me an education check, is how we've done like computer research before.
13.
You don't get any direct hits for Miles Tanner.
Are there like sub hits I would have got if I rolled more?
I can't tell you that.
Can I roll again?
You can only try something again if your chances of success have been improved for some reason. So like you want to take a long time to do it, use a better tool, you can like think of some way to boost your chances. So if you can tell me
Could
why you
I
think you
add
should get
some
another shot.
luck? Can I add some luck to it?
Let's say if you want to burn 2 luck points, I will let you do another search.
Then I would like to burn 2 luck points.
Okay. And go ahead and do another education check.
19 with the luck points.
19. This time you get 2 hits. They cross-reference back to this calendar app, and you see that it's 2 green calendar sets. One is labeled Karasu, one is labeled Kuomori. The Karasu block was about 6 months ago. It was in March 2045. The other one, Kuomori, was on September 10th. So the first one, Karasu, is like late in the evening of March 15th. Kuomori is very early morning, September 10th.
Okay. So, side question. So these note to selves are from each player, right? So 9, 9, and then the next one's 9, 12. So just no one played during that time? That's a whole blackout period?
No, the times in game don't correspond to real life.
Got it. Okay.
So that means that no messages were made in that 3-day period.
Okay, then I would like to ask Pia about Kuramori, what she knows, which I am guessing I need a die roll.
Yes, that is a persuasion check.
15.
She shakes her head and says, I don't know about that one. That was the private one that Mr. Tetsuo was doing himself.
And then I want to ask her if she can get onto Tetsuo's computer.
If he hasn't like changed his passwords, maybe, but I'd have to go into his office and do it.
Great. I would like to like sneak to the office door and peer in to see if anyone is in the office.
You go over to the office door. Do you like open it to peer in, or you just try and like glance and see if there's any like light filtering under the door or something?
Yeah, light under the door. Or is there glass or anything I can look through for clues?
Give me a perception check.
20.
You see a slight, like, flickering light making it through under the door. It seems like the light is on inside the office.
Like the whole light or just the flickering light of like a computer?
It's bright enough that it's probably more than a computer.
What are the other programs left on her computer?
So there's the company net, there's like a word processor, there's the calendar, there's like a spreadsheet thing. The other ones don't seem super useful.
Okay, so I've exhausted that computer. I don't know what other my other options are other than going in guns blazing.
It's up to you. You're the player.
So we're gonna take the shotgun and then open the door a little bit to see inside the office.
Give me a perception check as you open the door.
Is there like a stealth thing I can do to try to do that without them noticing?
Yes, you can take a -4 to your roll to do it stealthily.
I would like to do that.
Okay, so give me a perception check at a -4.
Shit, 1. So
Okay.
1, hold on. I rolled a 1.
Yeah, so you roll a second time.
1 again. So 10.
Okay, so 10. The second one is actually good for you, right? It's the smallest subtraction.
Mm-hmm.
But a 10 is still only what a child can do. So
it's not great.
You peek the shotgun through the door, sort of pull your head forward, and then you just stumble a little bit on like the door frame. Your boot catches on the like raised frame of the door. It's just weirdly like a weird design aesthetic choice that you didn't account for. The doors would be like on a raised platform. You stumble forward, you stumble into the room. As you do, you look up and you see a almost gaunt looking middle-aged Asian man behind his desk. He's wearing a very well-tailored suit, and he has a very manicured, like very traditional like businessman hair. It's like a sleek black, but then he has one strand of like graying hair that's just hanging down like over his forehead. He's sitting in a ornate computer chair behind a large desk. And as you sort of stumble into the room, you hear the whirring of mechanisms, and you see 2 large automatic turrets drop down out of the ceiling of the office and level themselves towards you. The man behind the desk looks up. He actually has a physical book in one hand, sets it down, and he says, "Well, well, I was wondering when you were going to make your way over here. Sarah, is it? You've really been making a mess of things this last week. Oh, and don't worry, your friend is perfectly fine. 13 saw to her personally, but I'd assumed that you were going to come and try and get her sooner. Are you just going to play mute and try and get me to monologue at you?"
I'm going to ask where...
Well, actually, when you hear what he says about your friend, go ahead and give me another luck check.
5.
Okay, that's strike 2.
Yes. Where is Miles?
Miles, I thought you would be more concerned about your friend Jessica. But I suppose you're on a bit of a one-woman crusade. Well, I have good news and bad news about Miles. Good news is I know exactly where he is, or at least where his body is. The bad news is I want to find him just as much as you do. You can give me a human perception check to try and like get a read on him.
Yeah. 19.
It seems like he's being genuine when he says that he knows where Miles is, but not if he's alive or not, and that he wants to find him.
All right, pause. So Jessica is my friend, right? Mm-hmm. Who's been, like, I've been in, like, phone contact with her, right? Mm-hmm. And he's got her too?
That's what it seems like. You remember that you have this text chain with Jessica where she hasn't responded for several days.
Right. So she hasn't responded to me since the 9th.
No, she hasn't responded to you since the 13th. It is currently the 17th, so it's been 4 days.
So I'm going to ask, why take Jessica?
Why? Well, because, frankly, 13 wasn't doing its job well enough. I wanted a loose end closed, and it seemed a lot easier to get you to come to me than it did to send him traipsing all over the city.
Who's 13?
Oh, I think you're well acquainted with him. And give me a perception check.
7.
Yeah, nope, you don't see anything interesting. So yeah, he just says, "Oh, I'm pretty sure you're well acquainted at this point." Or else he hasn't been making his reports accurately, but I've reviewed the footage. It seems like you've had a few close run-ins with 13.
Tell me about Kuramori.
Give me a persuasion check. Doesn't necessarily have a reason to tell you anything.
17.
He thinks for a second and says, "Well, if you're to be useful, you should probably know." And he sort of thinks back and forth to himself. And then he asks, "So this Miles fellow, you care deeply for him?
Yes.
And you would be willing to go to great lengths to rescue him?
Yes.
Are you telling the truth?"
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to roll human perception for him. Then perhaps our interests are in fact aligned. Your boyfriend, is it? Miles. You're aware that he is a highly skilled netrunner, yes?
Yes.
Are you aware that he has worked for me on a number of occasions?
Am I?
No, you're not.
Got it. No, I am not aware.
He smiles. That's smart. You'd hate to see someone use someone else's family against them. Well, there came a time recently when I had need of Miles' services once again. And as part of Project Kuomori, he just did a little heist for me. I have not heard from him since. My understanding is that he is currently somewhere inside the Biotechnica building, being held by their security. And with that, give me another luck check.
9.
That's strike 3. You hear this, the circuits in your head short out, you feel this high pressure in your brain, you close your eyes for a second, and you black out.